Let me introduce Sir Jairo. Okay, so Sir Jairo is one of our assistant professors here. Wait lang, spotlight ko din si Sir Jairo kung kaya. Okay, so ayan. So Sir Jairo earned his business administration degree, major in business management honors. Ano yan, full scholar in 2005 from the Ateneo de Naga University. And then finished his MBA naman from the talagang parang yung mga office mates ko dati dapat daw may the lagi. The Ateneo de Manila University in 2010. So currently a Doctor of Philosophy in Business degree candidate from DLSU Manila, wherein his doctorate research works in customer experience, human resource, and sustainability. I published in international journals and presented in Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. So with around more than 9 years of experience conducting various workshops for private and government organizations here and abroad, so sa I Associate Training Director for ILIP Consulting International. So isa siya sa mga well-versed natin na trainers, okay, and facilitators for DING. So also he was the presentation skills and trainer and trained the trainer guru of Globe Telecom for more than 3 years. And as a management consultant, he's part of the team that developed yung Jollibee's flagship branded customer experience program named Alagang Jollibee. So he's also the main trainer and consultant of customer experience program for companies such as Epson, Nissan, and East West Bank. Okay, in various executive coaching, in business communication, and technical business program for PhilHealth, GSIS Land Bank, so that's for the government, in Ayala Land, Robinson's Land Corporation, among others. Okay, so mainly you can see the vast experience of him in training, specifically for customer experience. Okay, so currently, so ngayon, he is an assistant professor in our department, but then he also became an assistant professor in College of Business, DLSU Manila, for more than 3 years, where he handled courses in business math, finance, business research, and business statistics. Okay, so both math and communications nandun na rin. Okay, so both for undergraduate and graduate courses. So he has also taught part-time sa UST. So kinokompleto na talaga ni Sir Jairo yung lahat ng schools. Okay. And FEU, so Institute of Accounts, Business, and Finance. So he started his career as a management trainee for more than 2 years in Pioneer Insurance and Surety Corporation, and also have corporate experiences from companies like Pfizer, BDO, and Globe Telecom. Okay? So hindi lang yung kanyang experience, work experience, ay jam-packed also, but then he will deliver or put into your plate much needed, okay, and condensed version of what really management is. Okay? So bago pa ako umubos pa ng oras ni Sir Jairo. Okay, so let me welcome to you Sir Jairo Trevino. Okay, so our facilitator or our professor for Module 1, Introduction to Management. Okay, so good morning Sir Jairo, sa inyo na po yung floor. Okay.
Thank you, Sir
Gandang
Chip.
umaga ulit.
Thank you, Sir Chip, for opening the program. And good morning, everyone. I was so relieved when good morning. I was so relieved that I got this particular time slot because I'm a morning person. I usually start my day before 6 a.m. And I still had a jog around Legazpi Park here in Makati earlier. That's why I hope you feel the same. You feel great this morning. Now, I'd like to request if you can turn on your camera. That would be good because sometimes when we do these workshops online and when the camera is turned off, it's as if I'm talking to yearbook photos. Tapos kung wala pang mga photo, minsan parang feeling ko ang kausap ko periodic table of elements because I only see letters in those grids. But thank you for opening your camera. That would be greatly appreciated. Excited ba kayo for Introduction to Management?
Yes po.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And my objective for this particular course, when I was invited to deliver, is to raise the intellectual discourse of management. Because when I was taught this particular subject, it is from the economistic paradigm. And I feel like given what's happening right now in our environment worldwide, we can advance the study of management such that it will not just conform from the economistic paradigm. So gusto kong i-challenge mga graduate students, and I'm sure there's a reason why you are taking this MPM program. Okay, so let me share my screen for now. Let me just fix something on my screen. Thank you. Sa mga nag-open ng camera, if there's a challenge on your part, okay lang naman. Sige, fix ko lang yung aking screen. Okay, I hope my screen is visible now. Okay, let's begin with name that organization. I'd like you to guess the organization behind the symbol, the product, or any ritual that I will be flashing on the screen. Okay, so name the organization, but not the product. So maybe I will show you a certain product on screen, but you have to name the organization and not the product. Are you ready? So let's use our group chat for this particular exercise. Let's begin with this one. Can you guess that organization? I hope it's not too obvious and I concealed even the label. Not Apple. Ayun, Samsung. Parang direct message ang nakukuha ko. Let's fix this so that everyone can type. Okay, it's Samsung. Very good. Okay, next. Now this time, this is a logo. Can you name that organization? Ayun, GSIS. Nakuha ni Miss Glyza. Okay, pag-ibig sabi ni Miss Colleen, it's not. How about this one? This is a building of an organization. Mukhang maraming familiar sa BGC. This is Globe, my former headquarters. How about this? Naging popular to sa mga plantito at plantita. Ayun! Nakuha ni Miss Christine. 7 is from Bayer. Very good. How about this software?
Syngenta.
It's not, it is Microsoft Outlook, so the organization is Microsoft, not Syngenta. How about this car? What's the organization?
Toyota.
It's Hyundai. Mukha din siyang Toyota. But it's Hyundai from Korea. I want you to be specific with this. I know it's UP, but which UP? Not LV.
Baguio.
Ayun, it's UP Baguio. So if you notice the pine trees on the background, it's from Baguio. And lastly, which, ano kayang organization to? So there's a dog, and then you have some volunteers. Okay, very good, it's PAWS. It's the Philippine Animal Welfare Society. I showed you these symbols because oftentimes when we look at organization, we look at buildings, we look at their products, etc. But the very gist of an organization is more than that. And I even look at it as an output that represents an organization. Pero ano ba talaga yung organization per se? An organization is beyond the building. An organization is beyond the products and services, the symbols, or even the logo. It's about people who deliberately arrange themselves in order to accomplish a purpose. So that's the essence of an organization. So kung may mga tao na nag-organize in order for them to accomplish a particular purpose, that is an organization. Which brings me to the question, do you think an individual accomplishing a purpose is considered an organization? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why yes? Sabi ni Miss Sharon, it's a yes. Sabi ni Miss Christine, it's no. Why do you think an individual accomplishing a purpose considered an organization based from that particular gist that I mentioned earlier? Pwede ba natin siya ma-consider na organization? Miss May, sabi niya sa direct message, no, should have at least 5%. I'm not sure why you are sending me the message directly. Naka-program ba siya na direct only to me? I already made sure na you can chat with everyone para nakikita.
I
Would it
changed the
be-
setting already.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you. You can chat to everyone so that we can see your answers. Very good. Thank you po for that one. Okay, so let's check. There are 3 characteristics of an organization. Number 1, there's a reason for its existence. Number 2, there's a deliberate structure. And the last characteristic is that it should be a group of people. So if we will answer that question earlier, black and white, is an individual accomplishing a purpose considered an organization? My answer would be a no. Because it does not fit the third characteristic, which is it should be a group of people. However, given what technology can do right now, artificial intelligence, this can already be challenged in the future. Who knows? You may be alone in an organization, but because of these machines, you can even have another person working with, pero kontrolado mo pa rin, and it can already be considered a group of people. So I don't know. These are things that I hope makikita ko pa in the future. But technically, if I will go back to that question, kung solo ka lang sa organization, you cannot be considered as such because it should be a group of people. Okay? I'd like to begin with this. Primarily because whenever we look at organization again, kailangan ba may building or may main office? Do you need to have a logo? Do you need to have a product? Kailangan ba may mga services, etc.? And I will always go back to this very essence of an organization. If these 3 are present, generally you can already consider that as an organization. Okay? Now, let's bring this discussion to management. Why do we need to study management in an organization? Ano ba yung pinaka-essence ng management na pag-aaralan natin today and tomorrow? All organizations practice management. That's my simple answer. Kaya natin pinag-aaralan yung management kasi lahat ng organizations that are deliberately structured, organized for a certain purpose, and may mga grupo ng tao, pinapractice nila ang management. Management in terms of all the resources that you can think of in an organization. For example, our financial resources. How do we manage them? Ang ating mga products that you can see literally. Yung information as another resource, and even yung mga physical assets like your building, your cars, etc. And of course, the most important of all, ang pinaka-asset ng organization, our human resource. All of these are managed in an organization. Management is at the core of an organization, regardless if it's a micro in terms of size or it's a large organization. And in the Philippines, I checked DTI, dati, gaano ba kadami ang large corporation sa Pilipinas? It's around 2% pa. But the latest data, nagna 99 point something na lang ang large corporations. Most of our organizations here, at least business, are MSME or micro, small, medium enterprises. Do they need management? Kailangan pa ba nilang i-practice them? And my answer is yes. Regardless if the organization is profit-oriented or not for profit, we need to practice management. It's a wrong notion that management is only applied to business. Okay, parang kaya nga may mga courses na business management. And when you take a look at business, it's always for profit. Yun naman talaga yung reason niya. Pero even not-for-profit organizations and other types of organizations, GOCC, etc., we practice management. Even in our personal lives, we can even practice management. Kahit gaano ka-complex yung industry or dynamic in agriculture, education, engineering, etc., we practice management. Regardless if you will apply management in different org areas like marketing, finance, operations, etc., we practice management. And of course, in all levels of the organization, from the top level until the bottom level of the organization, we practice management. Now that I'm teaching this, I recalled in 2001 and I wasn't sure of what course to take. Diba, pag you are entering college, may mga iba sa atin na talagang hindi sure what course to take in college because my heart is telling me I should be in communication arts. Ang choice ko talaga ng course at that time is to go to Ateneo de Manila and take up communication arts. But my mom, not naman na pakialamera, but she wants to guide me since I'm really undecided about it. She was giving me an advice na, alam mo, sayang naman yung scholarship mo dito sa Naga at mas malapit ka sa akin. So just stay here. And the course is Business Management Honors Program. So it's yung hindi ko siya gusto at first because number one, I felt that there's pressure in studying that particular course since there's a QPI that you need to maintain compared to my first choice. But looking back, things really happen for a reason. So hindi ko nire-regret na pag-aralan and mag-specialize sa management. In everything that we do, kahit nasa engineering ka, agriculture, education, etc., yung life hacks ng management can be applied to everything. And even in this particular program, we are starting with management because this is the focal point. Okay? We don't want this to happen in an organization. Ito yung pinakaayaw nating nangyayari. And I'm sure some of you, di ba, may mga work, I think majority, may work experience naman. Ito yung gusto nating maiwasan, yung mga taong nagkakagulo. With management, we want to get things done. How do we do it? We create the right system and the environment for people. So what's management per se? Mamaya tatanungin ko kayo, why did you take this particular program? But before I ask you that, I'd like to properly define management. And in defining management, this must be very clear that even if you don't memorize all the words about management, you will learn this by heart. So we will dissect it word per word. Management is simply the attainment of organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling organizational resources. Okay? Ito yung management. Attainment of org goals in an effective and efficient manner through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling organizational resources. But since I love dissecting words, I'll try to explain this to you in terms of details, word per word. So let's begin with the first one, attainment of org goals. Okay? So iwan muna natin yung ibang words, mag-focus tayo sa attainment of org goals. As an organization, for example, si Philippine Red Cross is an organization. Anong klaseng organization? It's an NGO. So it's not for profit. Ang reason bakit siya nag-exist ay hindi para kumita. Because Red Cross, it's our humanitarian organization, not just in the Philippines, but also worldwide. Okay? So tumutulong siya sa mga social welfare services, which can also promote volunteerism. So it's not even technically about medical services na lang. Okay. Now, on the other hand, you have St. Luke's as another organization. Si St. Luke's is a profit-centered organization. It's a hospital, and the reason why it exists, aside from providing medical care, ay para kumita. Compared to our PhilHealth. Your PhilHealth is our GOCC. It's controlled by the government. It's tax-exempted and attached to our Department of Health. So may reason kung bakit nandyan si PhilHealth as an organization, hindi para pagnakawan tayo ng premiums, kundi para ipatupad ang mga program natin sa national healthcare. These three organizations are part of one industry, and that's the healthcare industry. Okay? Pero si Red Cross, si St. Luke's, at si PhilHealth, para masabi natin that they are serving their purpose, dapat makita natin, is it effective and efficient? Pero may kanya-kanya silang reason for existence. And can we apply management in all of these organizations? The answer is yes. Okay? Hindi lang sa St. Luke's pwedeng ma-apply yung management kasi profit-oriented siya. We can do it kasi it's business management. No. Even with Red Cross, even with PhilHealth, we can apply management. So, lahat sila, there's a reason and may kanya-kanyang organizational goals. Now, let me go to effective and efficient manner. Now that we know that all organizations exist for a purpose. Yung goals and reason for existence nila, it can only be judged through effectiveness and efficiency. This is a managerial concern. And whenever I discuss effectiveness and efficiency, it can be sometimes confusing, but I'd like us to dig deeper and understand the difference. Ano ba yung effectiveness? Ano ba yung efficiency in terms of looking at those goals? And let me start with effectiveness. It's simply doing the right thing. Efficiency, on the other hand, is doing things right. Diba ang labo? It's just a play of words. Kung ito yung definition ng management terms, can you even distinguish if you are effective or efficient? Doing the right thing, doing things right. Malinaw po ba if I give you this definition? Yes or no? Honestly.
Yes po.
Talaga? Doing the right thing, doing things right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It can be for, wow, ibang level kung naintindihan niyo siya on that particular aspect. But in terms of the play of words, I'd like to further distinguish ano bang ibig sabihin ng effectiveness and efficiency in terms of a context para mas malinaw. Okay? When we talk about effectiveness, it is specifically contextualized in terms of attaining goal. Nare-reach ba natin yung goal? So in my screen right now, we have the y-axis, the one on your left, yung ating vertical line. Is the goal attainment low or high? Okay, that's effectiveness. That's the measure. But when it comes to efficiency, the x-axis, the horizontal line at the bottom, it's simply about how do you utilize resources? Or paano mo ginagamit yung resources? Is it poor or good? Okay, so let me begin with the first grid, which is neither effective nor efficient. Bakit siya hindi effective? Bakit siya hindi efficient? Kasi mababa yung low, yung goal attainment, and you have a poor resource utilization. Hindi na-achieve yung goal ang daming nasayang na resources. So ito yung worst case scenario, neither effective nor efficient. Now, if it's not effective but efficient, look at the goal attainment. It's still low, and the resource utilization is quite good. But later, I'll tell you that this will not make sense. Goals are not achieved, but you did not also waste any resource. So at first, I can think na parang wala ka rin talaga sigurong ginawa sa resources mo, kaya hindi mo rin nagamit yung goal. Okay? And there could be a lot of other scenarios. Another scenario is, it's effective but not efficient when there is high goal attainment, but the resource utilization is really poor. Na-achieve yung goal, pero ang daming nasayang na resources. And the best scenario would be effective and efficient. Your goals are achieved, but there are no wasted resources. And in operations management, we call this high in terms of productivity. Kung ang neither effective nor efficient, ang worst case scenario, ang pinakagusto nating ma-achieve as managers in any organization is this: effective and efficient, because it will result to high productivity. I'd like to ask you a question. Paano pag hindi natin na-achieve yung effective and efficient? What's the next best scenario? Kim mentioned right things may be subjective. Agree, because it should be contextualized. What is even right? Depende rin yan sa measurement. Okay? So I'll go back to that question. Kunyari, itong effective and efficient, hindi talaga siya yung scenario na narating natin. What's the second best scenario? Can you tell me? What's the second best? Very good. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Is it Clean? Clean Dale Mercado.
Yes,
Effective. Clean. Thank you, Ms. Clean. It's effective but inefficient. Okay. Ito yung pwede pa. Okay. Itong not effective but efficient, you will not go for this. Okay? And syempre ayaw natin na hindi ka effective nor efficient. Now, let me answer why it's not effective but efficient. We don't want to gear towards this, pero ito na yung pinakasunod na okay na scenario. Let's use some examples. And I'd like to call some of you and ask your thoughts about this. Can I begin with, sige, magtatawa na. Miss Diane Castro. Miss Diane, can you turn on your mic if you can?
Good morning po.
Hello, good morning. I'll give you a scenario, Miss Diane. You have 100 raw materials. Out of that 100 raw materials, Miss Diane, 30% nasayang. But you are able to produce the finished products 20 out of 25. Sabi naman ng boss mo, in terms of the performance standards, ang kailangan 20 lang naman para matapos mo para okay tayo sa production. Okay? Do you think you are effective? Yes or no?
Effective when it comes to the output, yes.
Yes.
Because na-achieve niya yung target na 20.
At least 20.
Yes,
Very
opo.
good. Diba? Sabi naman ng boss mo, 20. So, effective ka. Are you efficient, Miss Diane?
No, because there is 30% na wasted raw materials
Okay, di ba?
in
Parang
achieving the
nasayang.
target. Apo.
Agree. So parang, oo nga na, probably right now, acceptable yung 20 sa standard natin. Pero kung hindi sana nasayang yung 30%, baka na-stretch natin yung 20. You could have produced more. So in terms of efficiency, pwedeng gray area to. Okay? Thank you, Ms. Diane. Now, let me call another one. Let's go for a guy this time. Si Sir Jules, Luna. Sir Jules, can you turn on your mic?
Morning po.
Good morning. Sir Jules, this is my simple scenario to you. Meron kang laborers na 50. But for this particular project, you only utilize 20 of them. Sa 20, Sir Jules, wala kang binayarang overtime sa kanila. And the output, 100% ng produkto natapos at nagawa. Number one, are you effective, Sir Jules? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why are you effective?
Kasi with minimum, below half pa ng people yung you use, you're still able to
Produce.
produce yung 100%.
Okay, very good. Natapos na. And that's the goal, di ba? Parang target the production of 100% kung ano mang product. Sir Jules, are you efficient?
I'd still say yes.
Why?
Kasi you only used yung less than half. So imagine if you'd use more of that, baka na-double pa yung production.
Very good. Paano, Sir Jules, kung ang scenario sa lahat ng projects, ganito lang ang nangyayari? Are you still efficient?
Probably hindi na.
Why
Kasi,
not?
you're not compensating yung group na yun
Very good.
nung overtime pay.
Diba? Parang, anong ginagawa ng 30? Ginagastosan mo lang, pinapasweldo, kaya pala ng 20. Right? In terms of workforce, parang, baka pwede sa project A, nangyari lang to. Pero, bakit halos sa lahat ng projects, kunyari, kung i-tweak ko yung situation, I am only utilizing 20 out of 50 of my laborers, and given na 20 lang out of my 50 laborers, dun sa 20, wala pa akong overtime na binabayaran. So this is a question now of efficiency, not technically a question of effectiveness. Although, if you will argue somehow, talagang parang twin siya, but I'm trying to make a distinction lang between the two. Okay, so thank you, Sir Jules. Now, overmanned high OPEX. Yes, Miss May. Miss May, because of that, can you turn on your mic? This scenario
po.
is for you. Hello.
Hala, bago. Okay.
50% ng makina mo, Miss May, talagang nag-breakdown. Oh my God. Siguro hindi masyadong na-maintain to, no? Dahil down yung system, ang naging proseso, mano-mano. You resorted to manual processing. And because of that, the products were undelivered. Hindi na nga na-deliver yung sa tamang due date. Nung dineliver mo pa, binalik pa ng mga customers. Can you tell me anong scenario natin dito?
You're neither effective nor efficient.
Ito yung pinakaayaw natin, no?
Magsara na
Yung
tayo.
Oo, magsasara na.
Either magsara or mag-improve. Yan.
Right. We don't want this to happen. Diba? So, yung resources natin may problema. So, in terms of capacity, talagang hindi natin nagawa yung goal at hindi ka rin naging efficient. Okay. Lastly, I'd like to ask si Miss Sharon. Miss Sharon?
Yes.
Miss Sharon! Nasa supply chain ka kunyari, Miss Sharon. Tapos, nakahanap ka ng supplier na mas mababa yung raw materials. So kung dati nakukuha mo siya ng 100 pesos per unit, ngayon, dito sa bagong supplier, nakuha mo na lang siya ng 70 pesos per unit. So there's a decrease of cost in raw materials. And the good news is you were able to come up with a process wherein 40% of those raw materials can still be reused. So pwede pang magamit. Pero maling mga produkto yung na-deliver mo. based on the raw materials na nakuha. Can you tell me first in terms of effectiveness if you are effective? Yes or no?
Not effective.
Why not, Ms. Ryan? Bakit hindi effective?
Kasi hindi tama yung materials na na-deliver eh. So,
Di ba?
paano yung production?
Okay. So parang nagtipid ka sa huli nung transform yung raw materials. Mali naman yung ginawa. So you're not effective. But are you efficient? Kunyari, tanggalin natin yung concept na magdi-deliver ka ng product. But are you efficient? Yes or no?
Yes, kasi nakatipid ka. 40%.
Yes. Siguro, somehow,
Reduce.
pwede mo masabing efficient kasi nakuha mo siya ng mas mura. At pwede nagawan ng paraan na 40% ng raw materials can be reused. But it's the wrong product. This is a reflection between effectiveness and efficiency. Kasi ang naisip ko dito, like for example, are you aware of your peach mango pie?
Yeah.
Kasi kagabi, I was craving for, when I saw the news that ube cheese pie is back. What I did is to purchase. And then I was reminded once again with the peach mango pie. Is it 100% peach and mango? Yes or no? Are you aware that it's not 100% peach and mango?
May sugar.
No, they use sayote. But do they
Ah,
tell you that there's sayote?
no.
Hindi nila sasabihin, this is a sayote pie. But they make use of that as one of the raw materials because number one, it's cheaper than when you buy peach. Okay, it's cheaper than when you produce a lot of mango. So that the composition, meron siyang may sayote. And it resembles, kasi sayote naman, hindi mo naman malalasahan na it's similar. But in terms of flavor, iibahin nila. So kaya para mapababa yung peach mango pie. Okay, there are comments here. Don't compromise the output or the product dahil lang sa mababa na ang presyo ng mga raw materials offered prices. Very good. Miss Pearl is saying na dito kasi nako-compromise. Tipirin natin para makamura tayo. Which brings me to the question. Anong mas importante? Kung papipiliin ko kayo, isa lang, effectiveness or efficiency? Can we have a vote? Can you type it in our chat box? Will you go for effectiveness or efficiency? And hindi pwedeng both ha. I want you to choose. Choose one, effectiveness versus efficiency. Okay. Okay, majority. Okay, may mga efficiency, pero majority, ang sinasabi niyo is effectiveness. And I have the same thoughts. Okay? If we will choose between effectiveness and efficiency, do the right things first. Achieve the goal. But hindi pwedeng gagawin mo lang yung tama. Do it the right way. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng sobrang gastos natin in terms of achieving the goal. Otherwise, if it's a business organization, how can we make profit? How can we satisfy our stakeholders? Okay? So both are important, effectiveness and efficiency. But we will always go first for effectiveness first before efficiency. Kasi sayang yung pagtitipid, sayang yung resource utilization kung hindi naman tama yung ginagawa. Is that clear? Okay. Kim is saying, sir, in the last example, the answer is not effective and not efficient. Technically, Kim, you're also right. But for the sake of argument lang, I'm playing it na sinabi lang namin na efficient because nakatipid. Pero yung pagtitipid, hindi na rin effective kung supply chain lang yung pag-uusapan natin, just to distinguish the two. But you're right, it's not even effective na rin. Diba? So parang kung hindi ka talaga kasi effective, this efficiency will also be affected. Kaya if you look at this definition, effective and efficient, nauuna yung effective sa efficient. I'm not sure with other books. I haven't seen other management books how they define management. But para siyang accounting eh. You will have your accounting later this week kay Sir JP. Sa accounting, di ba, may arrangement. Assets is equivalent to liabilities plus owner's equity. There's a reason why the accounting equation is arranged as such. Bakit nauuna ang liability sa owner's equity? Bakit hindi pwede na assets is equivalent to owner's equity plus liabilities? Diba? Kasi may important reason dun sa equation. Kasi playing it with math, pwede din naman na assets is equivalent to owner's equity plus liability. But it's not. And I'll give you one answer. Kasi pag nagdi-dissolution, una munang fino-fulfill in the use of asset, yung mga utang mo bago bayaran yung mga may-ari. Okay? And in the same way with management, we go for effectiveness first before efficiency. But in measuring the goals, it has to be both effectiveness and efficiency. Is this clear so far before I move to the next words here in our definition? May mga questions po ba? Klaro naman. Sana hindi na kayo na-confuse sa effectiveness and efficiency. Doing the right thing, goal attainment. Efficiency, doing things right, resource utilization. But it goes hand in hand. I agree. Hand in hand, it goes together. Malinaw po. So I can move now to planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, etc. Unless you have questions, I'd like to answer them now. So if there's none, let's move to planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Every time I will teach management, ang iniisip ko, management, PLOC or POLC. It stands for planning, leading, organizing, controlling. Yun na lang yung 4 na activities na iniisip ko through management. But I'd like to emphasize that these words are also important to get the gist of the word management. So when it comes to goal attainment, we do it in an effective and efficient manner. Sa paanong paraan? Planning, organizing, leading, and controlling those resources. These are what we call the management functions. Planning, we try to select what goals are we going to achieve and how to attain them. Organizing, how do we arrange our people, our tasks, our responsibilities? What would be our structure? Leading, how can we influence and motivate the most important resource in an organization, which is your people? And controlling, how do we monitor our activities? How can we raise standards? How can we make corrections? So all of these 4 go hand in hand. Ang question ko, does it have to follow a structure na it will always begin with planning, organizing, leading, and controlling? The answer is no. Okay? But generally, we begin talaga with planning. Like for example, you're just starting as an organization, planning. Siyempre, pagpaplanuhan mo muna. Sa planning, pwede ngang leading na ang sumunod, you influence people na yung mga planong to, ma-put into action, we execute them. And then we start organizing, and probably later on, we go to controlling. But hand in hand, most established organization, halos ginagawa natin to sabay-sabay. Depende sa activities. Okay? And tomorrow, I will be explaining to you all of these 4 management functions in detail. Ito yung pinaka-focus natin tomorrow. Planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. What do we plan? What do we organize? What do we lead? And what do we control? All resources. Your money, your building, your machine, the technology, information, your products, your most important resource, people. Lahat ng yan, pinagpaplanuhan, ino-organize, nililid at kinokontrol. Because in management, what do we want? We want to be able to perform effectively and efficiently. The one that I'm flashing on screen is simply the visual version of the definition I showed you earlier. So if you're a visual person like me, I like to put things in terms of images. This is how I look at management. So isang tingin ko pa lang dito, nakikita ko na management is simply it's simply about these resources being planned, organized, led, and controlled in order for me, and the way I will act on these functions, the way I will be judged in terms of performance will be based on effectiveness and efficiency, among others. You might ask me, are there other standards in terms of measuring the goal attainment aside from effectiveness and efficiency? And the answer is yes. Okay, but generally we go for these two general terms, effectiveness and efficiency. Okay, so this, ladies and gentlemen, is your management. The attainment of org goals in an effective and efficient manner through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling your org resources. Okay, Jonel mentioned both are equally important. Like if you are effective means you can do the work, but you take more time to do it than required, then your effectiveness is falling. I completely agree with that. That's why hand in hand naman talaga siya. I'm just playing with that idea. If you are to choose one, you go for effectiveness. Because in the industry, sa practice, may mga extreme cases. Kung papipiliin ka, talagang you will go for, dapat na a-achieve mo yung goal. Okay? If you are to choose one, and I remembered before sa Globe, kahit may budget, parang ang sabi sa akin yung boss ko, I don't care what you do. I don't care how much you spend as long as you achieve the goal. Oh, okay. Sige. Anyway, may mga resources naman lang. But both are equally important. Okay, are there questions so far? Or clarification? Meron po bang malabo dito sa definition na to? So basically, this is your management. And I hope by now it's clear. Now, what's my challenge? This is the management I was introduced to when I was in college. Ang pakiramdam ko, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina sa opening, this is from the perspective of the economic paradigm. And I'd like to advance the field of management as graduate students, and hopefully pag na-earn nyo na yung master's degree nyo, your doctorate, etc., you will also help us advance this particular field. Because I'm not saying that this is wrong per se, given the changes in our environment. Ang challenge ko ngayon sa mga mag-aaral sa management, do not be satisfied with this definition. This can be the very core of management. But I'd like you to challenge your study of management in the future. And one of the perspective is to make it humanistic. Ano ba yung humanistic management? Bakit itong paradigm na to nagiging popular? It is simply a perspective in which you look at people that they really matter. You don't look at them like they were slaves before. Okay? Na para lang silang kasangkapan, equated similarly to your building, to your money, from a capitalist perspective. Hindi nakikita tong humanistic approach. Okay? Na parang, I don't care if you will work 8 to 5. I don't care if it takes 3 hours for you to go to this office given this situation. Diba? Hindi siya makatao. So yung humanistic management, it's one of the perspective na nagkaroon ng attention for scholars and academicians right now. But in terms of practice, may gap pa rin kasi siya. And I'm challenging everyone to look into this particular paradigm. and do not be satisfied with the definition that I give you on what traditional management is. Okay, let's watch this.
In the mid-1900s, management theories changed as researchers focused on the workers. These theories were referred to as humanistic or behavioral because they considered the employees' attitudes, behaviors, and social needs. The human relation movement was tested extensively in the Hawthorne plant of Western Electric, where worker productivity was tested over a variety of changing conditions, including lighting changes, pay incentives, and group pay incentives. Researchers found that workers developed their own unspoken system of performance. They set a productivity level, and workers who produced less or more were looked at unfavorably. This was strong support for the power of group norms. Another theory that emerged was known as Theory X and Y. Theory X managers assume people don't like to work, so they need to be forced to work through threats and punishment. Theory Y managers assume that employees do like to work, and they reward employees by giving them more power and responsibility within the organization. Managers enable employees to work to their highest potential. The humanistic movement kicked off the management research trend to focus on the employees' attitudes, behaviors, and social needs, and set the stage for modern-day management practices and research.
I hope the humanistic theories in the past can be advanced, because I feel like the theory XY, it's incomplete. The Hawthorne studies, it's way too Jurassic in terms of our current situation. And I'd like to challenge everyone that when you study management, we look at it from the humanistic aspect among other paradigms. Okay? Hindi ko madidiscuss lahat ng topics in management because I will only be given this morning and tomorrow yung mga important theory, pero na-mention doon yung Hawthorne studies, na-mention yung theory XY, and a lot of management concepts. Theoretically, kung titingnan kasi natin paano nag-evolve ang management, how did businesses started? It was started in the cottage industry. Diba? Ano yung cottage industry? Lahat gawang kamay. When you want to earn, you want to come up with a business, usually your factory before is just your house o kaya yung bakanting lote. Tapos na-realize ng mga tao that they need to increase their production. So what happened? Neighborhood. Tapos parang kulang pa rin. We need to increase the output. Kaya yung factory system, di ba, nag-evolve? Right? From the factory system, hindi na rin, right now, is it always about factory system wherein we can produce products and services? No, right now, we are doing digital services. So that evolution from yung Hawthorne studies ng factory system pa, ang dami-dami ng mga theory sa management na pwedeng mag-challenge dito sa paradigm na to, na hindi lang dapat siya nakikita from an economic perspective. And that's my challenge for everyone when you study. I hope you will advance this knowledge in the same way that when I was taught management, I'd like to challenge my management perspective now. Otherwise, it can be problematic for our society. One of the researchers that I look up to is Chris Laszlo when he introduced humanistic management. You can read about his work in terms of this aspect. Ito yung response na talagang huwag mong i-equate yung tao bilang kasangkapan lang in terms of the way you do business, because at the end, you just want to earn profit from it. Okay? So among all other paradigms and perspective, when you do your graduate studies, I hope mababasa ko in the future yung mga scholarly works ninyo that you came up with theory, lalo na ngayon that the situation is challenging us. For example, the phenomenon of Great Resignation. When it started, yung Great Resignation term, hindi pa naman pinag-aaralan yan. Wala pa nga masyadong studies na lumalabas published in top-tier journal about Great Resignation. Ang alam lang natin, nag-exodus ang mga tao, nag-quit sila during the pandemic. So what brought about that particular, Tapos, when that happened, tinitingnan ko yung situation sa Philippines. Is this true in the Philippines? And I thought, mukhang hindi eh. Kasi ang mga Pinoy were very resilient as individuals. Mas gritty tayo. Pero 3 weeks ago, I saw this article na parang yung Great Resignation nangyayari na rin sa Pilipinas. And that made me think that this phenomenon is something na hindi lang siya exclusive sa Western countries. Right? Kasi come to think of it, every time I will go out of my condo and I will see yung mga employees, I go to RCBC kasi for my workout, and nilalakad ko lang siya kasi 2 blocks lang siya from my place. At 4:30 p.m., I feel sad for those employees na nakalinya along Buendia and even Ayala just to get a ride. And sabi ko, bakit hanggang De La Rosa, like for example, hanggang De La Rosa tapos hanggang dulo ng corner ng Ayala, ang haba-haba ng pila? Right? The traffic situation, we have the problem when it comes to gas. And why is it that we're making things difficult for these people? So I was trying to reflect on this particular scenario. Kasi at the end, kung iisipin nyo, even prior to the pandemic, if you work here in Metro Manila, traffic is part of your work. But traffic is unpaid. Diba? If it takes 2 hours for you to go from your workplace and another 2 hours from your workplace going back to work, that 4 hours is considered work, but it is not paid. And it's a waste of time. So parang, come to think of it, will it even shift to that scenario wherein mas magiging makatao yung pagmamanage sa tao or hindi? Dahil sinabi ng management, you don't have a choice. This is how we do things here. Otherwise, you're fired. So ito yung mga bagay na interesting pag-aralan sa field ng management. Not the particular line that I will go for since I'm working on customer experience, but I'm looking at it also from the humanistic aspect. Kasi like ang pinaka-firm belief ko, ang pinaka-bias ko is that at the end of the day, customer experience can never be replaced by machines. But what's happening right now is in terms of efficiency, if you will go for that one, ang mga makina, hindi magre-reklamo yan. Ang mga tao, pwedeng magsabi yan na, I have mental health issues. Eh kung kapitalista ang perspective mo, di tatanggalin na lang kita, I can replace you with machines. And is it humanistic? My answer would be no. There's even a hotel in Japan na purely robot ang nagsaservice. And I've tried it myself and I was like, oh no, I hope this will not be the future. That we can be replaced by machines. So, may exciting and frustrating parts in this field of study. And that's my challenge for everyone. Do not stick with the definition that I just gave you